In order to simplify these off diagonal entries, we need another assumption. So the second assumption that I'm going to use is no autocorrelation between errors or independence of errors. So this is another assumption that is related to this linear regression model, that errors are independent or no autocorrelation or no self correlation. So mathematically, if we consider two errors, epsilon I and epsilon j, so correlation is 0. So CORR stands for correlation. This is also a notation to denote the correlation. So correlation of epsilon I and epsilon j. You can replace these subscripts with, let's say I is 1 and j is 2. So epsilon 1 and epsilon 2, their correlation is 0. And then I have written here the general notation epsilon I and epsilon j. And here is the condition that I should be different from j. I is not equal to j, and both I and j, they range from 1 to t. So it means I can take value from 1 to t. If let's say I is, and j can also take values from 1 to t. When I is 1, then j can never be equal to 1, because we have also imposed another condition that I is not equal to j. So let's say we fix this epsilon I equals to 1. So we get epsilon 1 and then j will be 2. So epsilon 1 and epsilon 2. So correlation of epsilon 1 with epsilon 2 is 0. Correlation of epsilon 1 with epsilon 3 and so on. And next, if you fix this I at 2, so then j can never be equal to 2. J cannot be equal to 2, and j can take value 1 and then 3, 4, 5 and so on. When I is 3, so then j cannot be equal to 3, so j can be 1, 2 but not 3. But next value that j can take is 4, 5 and so on. So it means by writing this general formula, we have actually covered the full range, that epsilon 1, the correlation between epsilon I and epsilon j is 0 when I is different from j, and I and j range from 1 to t. So this means if you take any two different errors, I is not equal to j mean epsilon I and epsilon j, so they will be different. So if you take any two different errors, and their correlation should be 0. So this is related to independence or no autocorrelation. So this is mathematical notation. So now from the basic statistics, we know that the correlation of epsilon I and epsilon j is, the basic formula for the correlation is, it is the covariance between the same variable divided by standard deviation of first into standard deviation of second. So this is the mathematical formula for the correlation. Or instead of epsilon I, epsilon j, if you have x and y, so correlation of x and y, x comma y, it is the covariance x comma y divided by standard deviation of x and standard deviation of y. So now look at here. If you apply this condition that correlation is 0, so it means this fraction is 0. So covariance divided by standard deviation, this will become 0, and this is being divided here in this fraction. This is occurring in the denominator. You simply shift it to the right hand side, they will get multiplied with 0, so they will become 0. So we are left with covariance of epsilon I, epsilon j equal 0. So then scroll down. So now, so it means this assumption of no autocorrelation, this mathematical step, correlation epsilon I, epsilon j 0, is actually, in other words, it can be written in this format, that covariance is 0, because correlation is just the covariance divided by the corresponding standard deviation of first epsilon I and standard deviation of epsilon j. Now writing the formula for the covariance, so covariance of epsilon I and epsilon j is expected value of epsilon I minus expected epsilon I and epsilon j minus expected epsilon j. And now this expected epsilon I, we know that I ranges from 1 to t. So it means expected epsilon 1 when I is replaced with 1. So expected epsilon 1 mean of first error. So that is by assumption 0, expected epsilon 2 is 0. So all these errors will become 0. Similarly, when j is replaced with 1 to t, so this expected epsilon j will also become 0. So we are left with this expected value of epsilon I minus 0 into epsilon j minus 0. So in next step, this epsilon I minus 0 is epsilon I and epsilon j minus 0 is epsilon j. So we got this product. So it means this zero correlation between any two different errors, it is mathematically equivalent to zero covariance between the any two different errors, epsilon I and epsilon j, and this is mathematically equal to this product, expected epsilon I epsilon j equal 0. So we can write this assumption as expected epsilon I epsilon j equals 0. I is different from j and ij both range from 1 to t. So in future, when you are asked to write the mathematical notation of this no autocorrelation or independence of errors, then you can either use this mathematical notation, correlation, zero correlation between epsilon I epsilon j, I different from j, or you can write this zero covariance, or alternatively you can write this expression. Expected value of product of epsilon I epsilon j is 0, I is different from j, and ij range from 1 to t. So now look at this, I and j, this product, and expected value of this product is 0. So it means when I is 1, j cannot be equal to 1, so j will be 2. So expected epsilon 1 epsilon 2 is 0. By the way, one more clarity, look at here. If we, so question is why we are using this I, why I should be different from j. The idea is that let's say I and j are equal, like if I takes value 1 and j also takes value 1, then we have the correlation of epsilon 1 with epsilon 1. So it means let's say epsilon 1 is height and epsilon j is this j is also height, because we are using the same subscript. So if you take the correlation between same variables, so it will be always equal to 1 or 100%. So that's why this zero correlation means, so independence assumption means if you take any two different errors, so errors must be different, they should not be same, because if we are using same variable here at both places, the correlation will always be equal to 100%. So like x variable, we are calculating correlation of x containing values 1, 2, 3. Another variable is the second variable is the same x containing 1, 2, 3. So first value in each, of course, since we are using same x, so 1 corresponds to 1, 2 corresponds to 2, 3 corresponds to 3. So the correlation is, there is one mapping, so correlation is always 100%. So now so look at this expression, expected value of epsilon I epsilon j, now replace I by 1 and j by 2, so it will be expected epsilon 1 epsilon 2, and this is 0. And now if you scroll it up, look at here, expected epsilon 1 and epsilon 2, so this will become 0 due to assumption of independence of errors or no autocorrelation between errors. And look at here, epsilon 1 and 3, again these two are different, and last one epsilon 1 with t, all these this second 1 3, expected epsilon 1 3 and expected epsilon 1 t, all these will be replaced with 0 due to assumption of independence of errors. Look at here, expected value epsilon 2 1, then 3 1, then t 1, all these will be replaced with 0. Look at here, 3 2 and t epsilon t epsilon 2 and 2 3, epsilon 2 epsilon t, and here by the way this is epsilon 3 t, so please take note of it, this is expected epsilon 3 and epsilon t, and then okay, so except these diagonal entries, expected where we are seeing the square epsilon 1 square and then epsilon 2 square, expected values of course as well. So previously we have replaced these diagonals with the sigma squares, and now all the off diagonals entries, they will become 0 due to this assumption. Whenever these two are different, I and j are different, and the expectation of their product will always be 0 due to this assumption of independence. So now the covariance matrix of errors, or COV, covariance of epsilon, this matrix, it becomes sigma square, sigma square, sigma square on the diagonals and zeros on the off diagonals. So we have simplified this expression. Now from this expression we can take this sigma square common. When you take this sigma square common, you will be left with 1 1 1 throughout, and this 1 1 1, a matrix that has 1 on the diagonals and zeros on the off diagonals, that is called the identity matrix. So denoted by I. So we obtained, so this expression simplifies to sigma square times identity. So this is the final expression. So covariance of epsilon is sigma square times identity. So actually we have, scrolling back to top, so we actually have obtained this second expression. So covariance of epsilon is, this question mark is now replaced with sigma square identity. Recall that this expected epsilon is this null vector O, and now this covariance of this epsilon is sigma square identity. Once you replace these two question marks, we will get the full matrix notation. So that actually I did here in the next page. Okay, so this question mark is now replaced with this big O, and the second question mark, which is covariance of epsilon, is replaced with sigma square identity. So this is the big picture, and by the way we can also skip this because we know that this first entry is the expected value of epsilon, and this second entry sigma square identity is the covariance of epsilon. So we can, instead of writing this thing, we can simply write within the parenthesis the first argument is null vector O and the second argument is sigma square identity. So simply writing this equation, big Y is equal to big X big beta plus big epsilon, and then stating that big epsilon is normally distributed and with mean null vector O and covariance matrix sigma square identity. So this is how matrix form is written. So now for completeness, here I have written one more time. So general form of a multiple linear regression model, now in matrix notation. So in matrix notation, big Y is equal to big X big beta plus big epsilon, and big epsilon is normal with mean 0. Normal mean normally distributed with mean, instead of saying 0, mean is null vector O and covariance matrix sigma square identity. And now question is, what are the true parameters here? So true parameters, all the betas, they have been replaced by this big beta. So this big beta is a parameter. It is actually a vector containing k components, beta 1 to beta k, and last one is this sigma square, which is same in previous case without matrix notation. So sigma square is still there, the variance of error term, but adjacent to sigma square we have this beta vector now. So beta vector contains k components. So it's good idea to write this model using subscripts. So by adding the dimension or order of each of these vectors or and matrices. So Y is a vector, its order is t rows 1 column, so t by 1, and then this X is a matrix containing t rows k columns, so write in the subscript the order as well. So t by k, and beta is a vector containing k components, k betas beta 1 to beta k, so its order will be k rows 1 column, and then this epsilon is t by 1, t rows 1 column, and this epsilon is t by 1, it is normal, and then with mean null vector O, and this O is t rows 1 column, and then this sigma square is just a constant. Its dimension is 1 by 1, so it's just a constant, no need to add the dimension. So and then this identity matrix is of dimension t rows t column. So instead of writing t cross t here, since rows and columns are identical, so generally only this capital T is written only once. So whenever you see only one letter to the dimension, then you should assume that this is a square matrix containing the same rows and same columns. In this case, this matrix I, it is a square matrix containing t rows and t column. And if you are wondering why it is of dimension t rows t column, so you can look at here. Okay, here. So look at here. So this is actually this matrix is the product of this and this. Look at here, epsilons, vector of epsilon. Epsilon 1 row, 2 row, 3 row. So we know that its order is t rows and only one column. So its order is t cross 1, and if I type it here, so its order is t cross 1. And now look at this second row vector. It has one row, only this one row, and first column is this epsilon 1, second column, third column, and t column. So it has one row and t columns. So t cross 1 and then 1 cross t. So we need to multiply, and both were being multiplied. So when you multiply these two, so this one will get cancelled with this. So actually this is how matrix multiplication works. So if you multiply a matrix that has t rows, one column, and another with another matrix that has one row and t columns, so then the resultant matrix is of dimension t rows, number of rows in the first matrix and number of columns in the second. So t cross t. So its order is t cross t. So, and even you can actually verify from here. So 1, then this count this subscript 2, 3, t. So t rows, and now count columns 1, this second subscript 2, 3, and t. So t rows and t column. So that's why we write here I and t. Since t and t rows and columns are identical, so just write once. So you can use this notation or you can use this notation. Both are mathematically equivalent. And now the true parameters in matrix notation are this beta, k cross 1, and then sigma square. So this is much more convenient because now you are exactly seeing that this beta is actually a vector having k components. So beta 1, beta 2, beta k. So k betas and sigma square. So beta 1 to beta k and sigma square. And by the way, if you scroll it up at the top from where we started here, so we started from here. So this matrix, the parameters are beta 1 to beta k and sigma square, and the parameters are actually mentioned here. Okay, so beta 1 to beta k and sigma square. So whether you use without matrix notation, non-matrix notation, or you use matrix notation, the parameters are exactly the same. Only the difference is only in the notation, mathematical notations. Otherwise the logic is exactly the same, whether you are dealing with matrix notation or you are dealing with non-matrix notation. So hopefully this point has been clarified. So now once we have arrived at this, so this is our model. So in future when you are asked to write the general form of a multiple linear regression in matrix form, so you can choose between the two expression, this one without the order or dimension, and this second one is with the dimension. I prefer this second one because in the second you can exactly see that, okay, look at here the dimension of x. So it says t rows k columns, so it means there are k regressors. So k regressors, so x1, x2, x3 and xk, where x1 is the first regressor which is constant 1 for all values of t. So it is actually a vector of ones. So look at this X matrix. So the first regressor is a vector of ones, so it is 1 1 1 throughout, so we call it as a vector of ones. A vector of ones means a column that has all entries equal to 1. And now look at the second regressor x2 and third regressor x3, and the first subscript, it denotes the values. So 1 first value, 2 for second, and t for the tth value. So with the dimension, so x is of dimension t by k, so it means we will assume that okay, it has k columns. So first column is always a vector of ones, and then the second column will correspond to the second regressor, and third column will correspond to third regressor. So that's it. So now one last thing is, in the same model, if we, let's say, consider the case of a simple linear regression model but in matrix notation, how it can be done? So in case of simple linear regression model, we know that we can simply reduce the number of columns from k to 2 and number of betas from k to 2. So it will be yt by 1 and xt rows 2 column and beta 2 cross 1, because look at here. So let me scroll it up here. Okay, so yt, beta 1, beta 2, so there are only 2 betas, so that's why the beta vector contains 2 elements, beta 1 and beta 2. And now look at here, adjacent to this beta 1 we will write 1, and adjacent to this beta 2 we will write x1 2, and then replacing t by 2 x2 2 2 3 and so on. So there is no x3 x4 etc. So we have only this 2 regressor model where first regressor is just constant 1. So here let's say you have this model up to only this x2. So then when you replace t by 1 2 3 up to t, you will write, start from here, y1 beta 2 x1 2, that's it. And then there is no need to write beta 3 beta 4 beta k, but you have to write this epsilon. So, and similarly here beta 1 beta 2 x2 2, and there are no x3 to xk, and last one will be epsilon 2 will be present. And in this matrix notation you will have only 2 columns, 1 1 1, and then the column containing values of this second regressor x2. So this x matrix will have only 2 columns. So its order will be, rows are same, but instead of k columns it will contain only 2 columns. I'm just keeping the same notation, but if you are using simple linear regression model, then of course you will have only 2 columns here. So 2 column here means the dimension of x will be t cross 2. And look at here in the beta you will have only 2 betas, beta 1 and beta 2. There are no beta 3 because there is no x3 regressor. So hopefully this point got cleared. So now the only thing that you need to adjust is, if you are using multiple linear regression model, the dimension is xt by k and beta k by 1. And if you are dealing with simple linear regression model, in matrix notation, all you need to adjust is the number of columns in this x matrix, and also the elements in this big beta vector. So they will be 2 cross 1. So, and the true parameters are now this beta having 2 components, beta 1 and beta 2 only. So its order is 2 by 1, and sigma square the variance of error term. So this is how you can write a regression model, a linear regression model in matrix notation, the simple linear regression model and multiple linear regression model. Now one take home question for you people is that your task is write general form of a multiple linear regression model with 3 regressors. With 3 regressors means now X matrix will contain 3 columns. So there will be 3 regressors. So 3 regressors mean, I'm just giving you a rough hint. Okay, so you need to write here up to x3. There will be no x4, x5, xk. So start from here, yt is equal to beta 1, beta 2, xt2, beta 3, xt3 plus epsilon. So it means when you transform this model into matrix notation, you will have 3 columns now. The third column is an additional column for the third regressor. So its dimension or order will be here t rows and 3 column. So this will be t cross 3 now. And there will be 3 betas. So order of beta will be 3 cross 1. So that's it. So you can write the same equation, the same expression, but here you need to replace this k by 3 or this 2 by 3. So t rows 3 column and beta will be 3 cross 1, and in the parameters list it will also be 3 cross 1. Rest of the notation will remain same. And if you are asked to write the model, general model with 4 regressors, so then obviously this will be t cross 4 and there will be 4 betas, beta 1 to beta 4, so and the parameters 4 cross 1. And similarly you can write multiple linear regression model with any number of regressors. And if you have k regressors, then of course this, and if you have 10 regressors, then of course you need to replace this k by 10. So t by 10, and there will be 10 betas, so it will be 10 by 1, and true parameters 10 cross 1 and sigma square. So this is how you can write mathematical expressions for the simple as well as multiple linear regression models, both in matrix notation and without matrix notation. And also now you know that how to figure out how to write down the true parameters in each case.